Hi guys, I'm Adam Wilborn from WhatCulture.
And I'm Andy Murray from WhatCulture, and Roman Reigns is confirmed out of WrestleMania along with several other wrestlers. I'm going to tell you all about the WWE superstar who may currently be trapped in quarantine. It's not Dana Brooke and it's not Rey Mysterio. And I'm also going to tell you about the ratings.
Plus an update on the WrestleMania 36 tapings with no spoilers. We finally know what a Boneyard match is. And as I've told you before, Dean Ambrose leaving the WWE was a work. This is the news.
And I have been never more upset with myself for leaving the tinfoil hat in the office. Let's kick things off by talking about poor old Roman Reigns, who has had to pull out of WrestleMania 36. This story was broken by Ryan Satin of Pro Wrestling Sheet, who is of course a correspondent on WWE Backstage as well. So he's very closely connected to the company. Reigns, at his request, has pulled out of Mania. Basically, he's immunocompromised because of his battles with leukemia. He's an at-risk person, and he doesn't feel like it's worth the health risk to compete on the event. So that leaves Goldberg without an opponent. Satin's original write-up said that Goldberg will still be on the show, but he had no word of who he might face. However, Dave Meltzer has come through saying that he has heard that the replacement opponent for Goldberg for the Universal title will be Braun Strowman. Now, there's more to this as well. Meltzer has also said that several other people have also been pulled from the Mania card. Now, this information is being kept secret. Only a couple of people outside of the immediate performers actually know about this. It's being kept confidential. It may get out as we get closer to the event. Maybe they'll cover it on SmackDown. In fact, on SmackDown this week, you'd fancy them to film an angle or do an angle to get Strowman into that match with Goldberg and get Reigns out and so forth. But basically, a bunch of wrestlers showed up to the taping, said, hey, I'm sick, I probably can't perform. They didn't perform. Obviously, WWE have said, if you don't feel comfortable performing at this time, don't go home. There will be no repercussions. But a number of other ones actually showed up. They had their temperature taken. It was over 104 degrees, which is the safe area, apparently, that the company are going with. Their temperatures were too high, and they were sent home. So we're going to see big changes to the advertised WrestleMania card. Reigns is out. A bunch of other matches could be messed up as well. This just changes every day, man.
Yeah, it never rains, but it pours. Didn't actually mean the pun there, but anyway. Obviously, hugely disappointing to lose Roman Reigns versus Goldberg from the WrestleMania 36 card. But without question, it is the right thing for Roman to do. As you mentioned, with his leukemia and his immunity deficiency, or whatever you want to call it, it's the right option for him to take. I saw Sean Ross Sapp saying something very valid about all this, which is, why haven't WWE done more advanced tapings ahead of all this? Look, I know they couldn't have guessed that this would be the exact date, but we all kind of knew that the lockdown was coming in one way or another. It's good, I suppose, that WWE have been taking all the necessary measures when people turn up to film for WrestleMania 36, that if they are if their temperature's higher than medically recommended, that they're taken off the show. But I mean, it's something they should have probably prepared for. There's people questioning why WrestleMania 36 is going ahead anyway, and now it just seems to be getting worse and worse. And like you say, not just losing Roman Reigns, but numerous other people from that WrestleMania card.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see who these people are, number one, and how the card shakes up as a result. The event does feel very snake bitten at the moment. At the same time, however, a lot of people are in the same boat here as well. You know, there's an obvious discussion to be had with regards to health and continuing doing these shows, and I think all of those points are absolutely correct with putting people at risk. Reigns is obviously the worst case here because of his previous health situations, but at the same time, I'm kind of grateful that we're getting our escapism on the 4th and the 5th. I know you're in the same boat. I know lots of viewers out there are in the same boat. I just hope that this isn't compromising anyone else's safety.
Exactly. I reckon tonight on SmackDown, well, not tonight because they've probably already recorded it in advance, but anyway, in tonight's episode of SmackDown, you're probably going to have Goldberg or maybe Roman come out and make the announcement, and then who is going to be the guy to step up and challenge Big Bill at WrestleMania? Here comes the money! Here we go! Here comes the money! I wouldn't put it out of the realms of possibility, you know?
It could be Shane, it could be Triple H, who the hell knows?
It could be bloody Gilbert, who cares?
It could be
Braun
Vince.
Strowman's a good selection, though.
It could be Vince. Oh, baby.
Let's continue, though, with more updates on the WrestleMania 36 tapings. No spoilers here, though. It's been confirmed that around 16 matches are going to take place over WrestleMania weekend. And they've been taping, of course, not just in the Performance Center and Full Sail University, but elsewhere in Orange County, Florida, before that lockdown came into force last night. They've taped all their content through to the 9th of April, when this stay-at-home order is currently due to expire. At least one match was filmed outside of Full Sail and the PC. Dave Meltzer, all this coming from the Wrestling Observer newsletter, noting that the Undertaker and AJ Styles' Boneyard match was filmed on location. We'll get into more details on that in a second. And John Cena and The Fiend, of course, probably getting a similar treatment.
Yeah, it's just, little production notes here and there, little details, little interesting bits and bobs. Yeah, I mean, the WrestleMania card is going to be very strange. I'm glad they've got everything in the can now. That is obviously the main thing. They finished seemingly in time. Yesterday, there was actually a report going around from Kevin Iole stating that the Performance Center had actually been closed at like 1 or 2 in the afternoon. This was countered and obviously proven false and stuff, but it would have sent a lot of people worrying throughout the day as WrestleMania progressed. I'm glad that the spoilers haven't come out yet, is all I'll say. I think, as someone who covers wrestling and so forth, it's impossible for us not to be spoiled at some point. But like we said yesterday, if we've made a company-wide decision to just not sit here and go, hey, here's who won this match and so forth, you're not going to accidentally stumble upon our channel and see a thumbnail that spoils everything or a title that spoils anything. So rest assured, we will handle the spoiler situation with the care it deserves, because at this time, escapism is absolutely vital and we don't want to ruin WrestleMania.
Absolutely. Our lips are sealed.
Indeed they are. One guy who may be in trouble, however, with regards to WrestleMania is Bobby Lashley. So, the fella was supposed to be on the past 2 episodes of Raw. He was supposed to be building this program with Aleister Black that was just kind of thrown together this week. But apparently, he was on a promotional tour in South Africa, and when he came back, he had to be quarantined. So that's why he's missed the past couple of Raws. This comes from Dave in the Wrestling Observer newsletter. Shoutouts to the people in the comments who moan when we mentioned the most prominent journalism in wrestling. It's really weird. But that's why Bobby hasn't been on the show, and there's currently no word on what that actually means for his WrestleMania match. Obviously, if he's in quarantine, problems, right? But we haven't heard anything specific just yet. An interesting part of this is that Lana actually finished filming in Hollywood earlier. Everything was shut down there, of course. So that might have been why WWE thought about putting the match together in the first place. But again, as we've reported with Rey Mysterio and Dana Brooke, let's just hope Bobby's okay, man.
Exactly. That's the most important thing right now. And as weird and wonderful and, to use WWE's words, zany as a match between Aleister Black and Bobby Lashley may well be, safety has to come first.
100%.
Right, so we finally know what a Boneyard match is. The weirdest match, unquestionably, on the WrestleMania card right now. This comes from AJ Styles talking on a recent live stream on Mixer about his contest set to go down with The Undertaker over WrestleMania 36 weekend. It's a mysterious match not taking place in a ring, you probably would have guessed. It has no rules, but it will feature a grave. Look, it sounds, for the most part, a bit like a Buried Alive match, aside from it won't start in the ring, I suppose. But AJ Styles, as you probably would have guessed, the reason why they use this weird terminology, as presumably as well as because WWE just loves saying things like first time ever, is because they don't want to use words like cemetery and things like that with the current climate being as it is. But yes, the Boneyard match is still going down this week. Not this weekend, next weekend even.
Yeah, so it's pretty much what we expected. I think, well, when we were speculating and spitballing and stuff, I think Dave said in the Observer newsletter as well that it was filmed in a cemetery setting, so that confirms everything. I saw some quote going around. I haven't sourced this. Great reporting, Andy. AJ apparently said something like it was like 3/4 of a Buried Alive match or something. What's the other quarter? Like a dragon on a pole? I don't know. We'll find out, man. I think it's going to be wacky and stupid and nonsense. And hey, man, I love wacky, stupid nonsense. So get that in my bloodstream right away. Anyway, Speaking of blood, I don't know, blood and guts, AEW. And the TV ratings are in. I'll just kind of breeze through these because there's not a whole lot to them this week. AEW was down 12% to 819,000. NXT was up from the previous week's kind of clip highlight show thing, up 23% to 669,000. Nice. 18 to 49 demographic, AEW sitting at 0.34, NXT at 0.20. But there are no further detailed breakdowns of demographics for NXT because it was outside the top 50 cable shows for the night. As expected, news reports on the current global situation dominated the evening. Without them, you'd have to fancy that both shows would have fared a little bit better. But at the end of the day, close to 1.5 million people watching live wrestling at a time when the compulsion is to watch the news and kind of wallow in what's going on. Pretty good going.
Exactly. I think that's the biggest takeaway here. Look, it's disappointing for NXT to not be in the top 50 shows, but going up is good. It's good for AEW to be in that top 50, but disappointing because their numbers have gone down. I think you can kind of really disregard, for the most part, these figures when it comes to competition between the two shows, because like you say, other news stories are going to dominate television right now. But, you know, good to see AEW still doing well, NXT improving. Look, Wednesday night is the best night for wrestling, whoever you prefer. So just keep watching for as long as you can, supporting those shows, and hopefully we'll all get back to normal as soon as possible. Right, can I be a bit gloaty now, Andy Murray?
Obviously.
Because I have taken it in the neck for weeks upon months upon nearly a year now about my claim that Dean Ambrose leaving the WWE was a work. Didn't help matters when I insisted that Matt Hardy leaving WWE was a work, and then he showed up on Dynamite about 2 days later. But still, finally, I have been vindicated. Dean Ambrose, John Moxley, whatever you want to call him, he made his return to WWE TV last night on WWE Backstage. It's where all the big returns happen. All right, I'm kind of cheating a little bit here, I'll admit. Basically, on an episode of WWE Backstage, which was different to usual because all your presenters were all hosting it from home, you had a 3-screen setup with Xavier Woods, Booker T, and Renee Young. Moxley decided to just crash Renee Young's workplace, I would assume, with one of the dogs midway through the show. Everyone cracked up. It is genuinely worth a watch. It's very funny, with Booker T shouting, "Look, this is what all that this show's all about. Cameo, cameo," and Xavier Woods going, "That's live TV, baby."
Yeah,
but once again, never doubt me. This counts. John Moxley leaving WWE's a work.
Yep. Yep. This is fun, right? This is fun. John Moxley being John Moxley, having a laugh, scaring his wife. At least he's not super kicking her for a toilet roll anymore. So, yeah. Great stuff, great stuff. Right, let's move on to your Twitter questions at WhatCulture WWE, of course, if you want to get in touch with us. First question today comes from Big Joe83, who says, "I think AEW's use of legends has been exceptional. They're using them to elevate others rather than the legends elevating themselves. Hello, WCW. Jake Roberts was extraordinary. Could you see Bret Hart or another major legend coming in a similar role in AEW?" Yeah, 100%. I think they've used the legends very well. I totally agree with you. I like Arn as the coach. I like Tully as the scheming manager for Shawn Spears. And I think Jake rules. I just watched the resurrection of Jake the Snake again last night. And man, it's so easy to root for that guy after everything he's been through. And he's been tremendous as well. He's been really good. Bret would be an interesting one. Obviously, he unveiled the AEW World title at Double or Nothing in a really unexpected and quite cool moment. He'd be a cool one to see. I'm sure there are plenty of other names we could rattle through and so forth, but I think they're going to keep doing this. Cody loves his nostalgia, and he uses him and his fellow Elite members and Tony Khan. They use these people really, really well. Even Billy Gunn showed up in that Battle Royal, and he was awesome. Like, he doing power spots and fanning around, and then he's teaming with his son in like the matches on Dark and stuff. It's good stuff. I really like how they use the veterans.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think, don't expect to be there to be a different veteran on the show each week. AEW knows how to utilise them, and the fact that you need sporadic appearances. You don't want the show to be dominated by boy-popping returns for, like Tommy Dreamer, for example, another one we saw in that Battle Royal. So, I hope so. I think they need to utilise them well. And just to pop Poor Michael Hamflett, who's stuck at home with his kids at the moment. Let's have Kevin Nash in AEW, shall we?
Oh, God,
Come
yes. Kevin Nash and his newly realigned hips. Legend.
Right, the second question today comes from It's a Zebra on Twitter, who says, do you think WWE should use this situation to treat Mania or the Raw after to tie up all storylines and allow wrestlers to spend time at home? They can bring back the product when they can perform in front of the fans again for huge pops.
So Michael Hamflett actually has a wonderful editorial up on our website entitled Why Wrestling Has Never Been So Hard to Watch that covers exactly this. Tremendous read, outlines the key arguments, both sides of the equation really. But I think that the most compelling argument to make here is relating to health and everything else and putting people at risk and so forth. Starting to lean that way myself, man. Starting to lean that way myself.
Yeah, and I think I've just been listening to the start of Brody Lee on Talk is Jericho, and them talking about if they could have only got to Blood and Guts, I think the general consensus would be, right, there's your cliffhanger, stop there and let's wait till we get back into it. The WrestleMania or the Raw after WrestleMania, for me, it'd be an ideal time for WWE to just press pause on everything. Like you say, allow wrestlers to go home, recover, and just allow this whole situation to blow over, and just maybe allow the writers a little bit of time off to think about things and actually come back with some good ideas, some good storylines, just sort everything out. Will it happen? Probably not. It's Vince McMahon after all. It's got to keep going. We're fighting Gunsmoke for the longest running weekly episodic TV show, whatever that bollocks is. Right, final question today comes from Derek, who said, I just rewatched NXT War Games 2 and heard possibly my favourite ever commentary line. These guys have more chemistry than a science fair. No prizes for guessing who said that. That was in reference to the Undisputed Era. What is the best commentary line you guys have ever heard? Good question, Derek.
Three simple words for me. He killed him! He killed him! Just iconic, made the moment. You can just replay that little clip of JR screaming that and you know immediately what it is and what it refers to and everything. I mean, there's loads more you could pick up. You could pick up literally any Stone Cold return for Jim Ross just losing his mind, but that's the one for me.
As God is my witness, he is broken in half.
Yes, brother. Yes, brother.
And then ruined by Michael Cole shouting for the love of mankind at WrestleMania many years later. What a dick you are. I'm going to go for a Michael Cole line, though, that was given to me by our wonderful editor, Ben Roy, when he shouted, "This is vintage bragging rights." I do believe at the first bragging rights pay-per-view.
I stick up for Michael Cole a lot, but he can't help himself sometimes, right?
No, exactly. Right, let's move on to today's and finally, and a little bit of a recommendation for you for something to cheer you up, something to watch. It's only 20 odd seconds or something, but if you enjoyed Chris Jericho cutting a promo on Vanguard 1 on AEW Dynamite, offering him to join the Inner Circle and be fed a little bit of the bubbly, well worth checking out Chris Jericho shooting on his Roomba, calling it arrogant, saying it always hides away, and saying it's giving him the silent treatment. Go and watch it, it's fantastic.
I don't like you. I think you're pompous. I think you're arrogant. You've always rubbed me the wrong way. Always trying to hide everywhere. Don't give me the silent treatment.
I'm going to start cutting promos on my kitchen appliances now, man. Shut up, fridge. There we go.
Yeah, I'm going after my toaster when we finish up here. Right, let us know your thoughts on that and all of today's news stories in the comments section below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And subscribe to WhatCulture Wrestling on either iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts from for daily wrestling podcasts. Myself and the Dadley Boys previewing a very interesting episode of SmackDown a little bit later on today. Plus, let us know your thoughts and Twitter questions on Twitter at WhatCultureWWE. Watch there. Follow both of us. You can follow Andy at
Andy H. Murray. The H stands for, I hope you're using this lockdown, this quarantine to do something positive, if you can. Spend some time with your other half. Start that creative project you've been putting off for ages. Watch a boatload of wrestling. Do something cool. Try and make it fun. It's not easy, but you can make it easier.
Most importantly of all, stop masturbating. You can follow me on Twitter at Adam Wilborn. Actually, follow me on Twitter and apologise for being wrong when you said that I was incorrect, that Dean Ambrose leaving WWE is a work. I await all of your replies. Follow us all at WhatCulture WWE. Have a great weekend. My thanks to Andy Murray. Thank you for watching, and we will see you soon.
Fridge.